All right, hey, it's me again, everybody. I hope your first week of class has gone pretty well. Yes, it's me and Profesor again, and this time I want to go ahead and say a few things about one of your earlier assignments that submitted in the course of the semester. That would be part one of the EBSCO assignment. And remember, the EBSCO assignment actually has two stages to it. There's two parts. In fact, I went ahead and printed out the PDF file for the assignment worksheet. So I think as you're watching this video, maybe what you might want to do is go ahead and pause the video right now, download this, print it out, or have it stored on your laptop, on your phone in PDF format, and have it with you as I'm going through the video. So I'll let you go ahead and pause right now, and then but I'll wait for you as you come back. Okay, guys, back. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about this assignment. And again, as I mentioned, there are two due dates for this. The first due date is coming up in early October. In fact, first week of October, Friday, October 3rd. So that portion corresponds to the first third of the class, namely the first 6 weeks of the class. So one of the early topics that we're looking at for the first third of the semester, that's the domain for your first EBSCO assignment. And the second one corresponds to the rest of the semester. So more contemporary topics leading into the 20th century, into the 21st actually, that's the domain of part 2, and part 2 is due on Friday, November 14th. So that puts us a couple of weeks before the Thanksgiving break. As I mentioned in the introduction video in which I introduced the class topics, remember that the totality of these two is worth 20%, with each one worth equally 10% of your total class grade. Just a couple of basic guidelines here. Remember to keep the length of your paper within the range of about 5 to 7 pages. If you go 7.5, 8, that's fine. I'm not going to get too upset if anything goes a little bit longer. So if you need upwards of 8 pages to finish your thoughts, by all means go ahead and do that. But ideally, if your review comes in at, say, in the range of 5, 6, 6.5, around that, then I think you've got a pretty good length to work on. In terms of what I want from the paper, the parameters, what I'm expecting, just review the information here on the worksheets. That tells you essentially what it is I'm looking for. So I'm not going to go over that information here. You can definitely do that on your own time. And let's see what other nuts and bolts administrative stuff I need to mention here. Oh, and there are quite a few guidelines. So let me go ahead and quickly point those out. The articles that you choose, because remember what you're doing is you're going into the Grossmont Library website and then clicking the section on article databases. And there are many different databases available at the Grossmont Library website. We're going to focus in on EBSCO, and the EBSCO database has a number of different journals. And by journal, and I think this is a function of what's happening in terms of modern times, because I remember going to UCSD back in the 1980s and San Diego State in the 1990s. That was before technology really took its root with respect to ways in which you could view information back in those days, and in many cases today, you still had those bound journals, those bound periodicals, that musty, almost the old museum-like quality when you go into the when you go into the libraries. My high school library, Hilltop High, back in the 1980s, and in a sense, also had that similar musty type of quality. But back in those days, the magazines or journals, as they're also called, of course, those were in print format, and each journal or each magazine contains a variety of different articles. So just as a distinction, remember, when I use the term journal, that means magazine or means periodical. So journal, magazine, and periodical, those mean essentially the same thing. And then the article is what you're actually looking for itself within the scope of the assignment. So to wrap up the terminology, EBSCO is the database. Something like History Today or Journal of American Ethnic History, those are the actual journals or the magazines, and then something which might have the title the policies of Lyndon B. Johnson, or new ways of looking at the New Deal, things like that. Those are the actual articles. That's what we're going to be tracking down for this video. All right, so let me go ahead and get things going. And I've got the Grossmont Library website already queued up. So like I did with the podcast video, let me tilt the camera over and let's take a look at the library website together and see what kind of stuff we can find. Okay, all right, and let me just make a few adjustments here so you guys can see this okay. I know this is kind of an inefficient way of looking at things, but I do want to learn how to use some of the technologies in which it's more efficient, much like the stuff that Sel Khan from the Khan Academy uses. I think that technology is a Camtasia, and I'm definitely checking with some of the people at the San Diego district, that's Mesa Miramar colleges, to get some more information about how to do it. But until I finally figured out how to use that type of stuff, then I'll just go ahead with this format for now. Okay, all right. So there we are, everybody. That's the gateway to the Grossmont Library website, and what we want to do right now is over here on the left in the box is a variety of different items, different menu choices. Let's click where it says database list. Okay, that database list. That's the link that we're going to click. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, and here we go. Here's a list of all the databases available there at the Grossmont Library. So stuff about auto repair, even biography. There's stuff on art, business, humanities, visual arts, anthropology, controversial topics, and we'll touch upon some of those topics actually when we start with the town hall coming up next week. I'll talk more about town hall in Monday's announcement. So what we want to do is, let's go ahead and scroll down all the way to where it says EBSCO. So EBSCO, there it is, EBSCO. Let's go ahead and click that and see where that leads us. Okay, all right. At this point in time, of course, you have to enter your information here, your username and your password. So let me go ahead and let me just move the camera off to the right a little bit, and I'll enter in my information. Okay, remember this is the password that you use to log into your Grossmont district email account, because everybody registered at Grossmont or Cuyamaca gets email accounts. So this is not the stuff that's used for Blackboard. That's an entirely different password system. So whatever you used to log into your email account when you registered for Grossmont, that password is what you use to log into EBSCO. Okay, there we are. That's what the EBSCO search page looks like. So what I want to do right now is let's enter our parameters, because you've got some limiters here in terms of how to limit your search, what types of articles are going to be discovered. So right off the bat, where it says search modes, let's click a Boolean phrase. That's usually the most helpful or useful search tool. Now we want to limit our results. Let's click full text. This gives us the full text of the article, not just the abstract, but the entirety of the text. The vast majority of articles that you find in full text will be in PDF format, but there will be some other formats too, HTML. You just have to go an extra step to find those. So PDF articles are the easiest to find in this way, but it's still not too hard to track down the HTML articles. Just follow the steps that EBSCO gives you if your article is only available in HTML format. Okay, scholarly peer reviewed, obviously we want that as well. This tells us that this is a journal that's shall we say cross-checked by somebody else in the field. So for example, let's say somebody up from UC Riverside writes a great article about the Maya, about the Toltecs, about Teotihuacan, about some new research on the on the fields in terms of Mesoamerican archaeology, and then that article then is cross-checked. It's reviewed. It's peer-reviewed by that scholar's contemporaries, colleagues, peers. So somebody from, let's say, University of Pacific in Stockton might say, yes, Professor Velasquez does a great job on this. This is new scholarship. It's mind-blowing. Blah blah blah. And then conversely, somebody else from, say, let's say Iowa State says, yes, I'm in total agreement with my colleague from University of Pacific. Professor Velasquez's work is revolutionary. It's new and exciting. Well, you get the idea. Of course, I'm exaggerating, but that's the point I'm trying to make here. So obviously, these are articles that are cross-checked by scholars within the field, so it's definitely reputable. So obviously, this way you avoid something from say, I don't know, just some those crazy guys used to appear way back on the X-Files shows back in the 1990s talking about Martians and aliens and ancient astronauts, that type of thing. So by clicking scholarly journals peer-reviewed, you avoid all of that. Okay, publication. I'm going to come back to that in just a bit because I want to show you one thing as we wrap up the search here. So we're going to come back to that because we'll actually do two searches. But right now, let's go ahead and just continue with these basic parameters. And let me go ahead and scroll down a little bit more here. Okay, special limiters for Academic Search Premier. Make sure you click periodical because periodical is the same as an academic magazine, academic journal. So clicking that'll limit your scope to a scholarly journal, a scholarly magazine. Number of pages. We want our articles to be at least 8 pages in length. So what we do is on this left box right here, make sure we click greater than. So much like you remember from your math in 3rd grade or 4th grade, what is greater than, what is less than, what is equal to? That's basically the same principle here. So make sure you click greater than and then type in a 7 because obviously 8 is greater than 7. And anything else I need to scroll down here? Okay, we really don't need to worry about these too much. I think we can get by without having to deal with these types of limiters right now. But again, the ones that I pointed out, obviously those are the ones that you want to click in order to find your article. All right, now we're just ready to go ahead and enter our topic. And in the assignment worksheet, I do have an example. I do have an example about the Chinese because Chinese immigration is one of our earlier topics we'll be looking at in just a couple of weeks, actually, with the Chinese Exclusion Act. And then, of course, you've got the PowerPoint program about the Chinese to look at. So let's go ahead and keep that example right there. Let's go ahead and talk and let's go ahead and enter our search. We'll focus it on one specific topic. We'll call it the Chinese Exclusion Act. This is an act that happened in 1882 actually, and it was definitely a reflection of a lot of the anti-Asian bias, especially the anti-Chinese bias, which really gripped the U.S., especially the western part of the U.S. by the end of the 19th century. So if you're interested in that, then let's go ahead and see what types of stuff we can find. Okay, we'll click search and let's see what kind of results we get. Okay, here we go. A lot of articles already pop up, and okay, there's some related images right here. So that's what popped up right now. So some of the articles we have. Let me just quickly read off the first 3. We have a Fearing Yellow, Imagining White Media Analysis of the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882, Through the Back Door, Evading the Chinese Exclusion Act Along the Niagara Frontier, and number 3 is Chinese Women Entering New England, Chinese Exclusion Act Case Files. All right, let's see if any of those three work. This first one seems intriguing in that it indicates that it's volume 18, issue 6, and it's 15 pages. So maybe that will work. Would that work? Not quite, because there's a bit of a problem here. Over here, and let me just bring it up a little bit here, maybe to get a better view. Let's let it focus a bit, hopefully. Okay. Over here at the left, after the author's name, is something called social identities. When you see that phrase in italics, that's the name of the magazine. That's the name of the journal. Now, social identities, if you look at that and cross-check off with a list of authorized journals for the assignment, you see that there's no match there. I don't have any listings there for social identities. I did not include that as one of the journals that you could use for the assignment. So unfortunately, because there's no connection, because I don't have social identities listed as one of the authorized journals, unfortunately, I have to reject that choice. Let's go on to number 3. This one here about Chinese women. It's named by the author Lo Shana, or Shauna Lo. I'm not sure exactly how what the order of the naming is. So this looks intriguing. It's September 2008 issue, volume 81, issue 3, and it's 27 pages. Anytime you see the number and then the P following that, that tells you the number of pages that it has. So when you see 27P, that means 27 pages. It obviously is more than 8 pages. But here's another problem. This is from the journal called the New England Quarterly. Look at that and see if it matches up with a list. No, there's no mention of New England Quarterly. Maybe if we had this class in, say, Boston or New Haven or Providence, Hartford, then most likely I'd have New England Quarterly as one of the journals. But it isn't. So unfortunately, because of that, I have to drop that. That is, I have to reject that choice. Let's try number 2. Number 2 is written by William H. Siner, or Senior. I'm not sure exactly how that name is pronounced. It's Summer 2008 edition, volume 27, issue 27, and it's 37 pages. It obviously fits in perfectly with the length requirements. It's obviously way more than 8 pages. But does it match? Does it fit in with the listings for the listings of the journals? Let's check. It's the Journal of American Ethnic History. Is that there? Yes, it is. It's number 5 on the list of journals on the assignment worksheet. So with that, that's an authorized journal that you can check out. So if you want to check that one out, it's about what's happening in New York State in the early 19th century, early 20th century actually. There are some of the subjects that it covers: immigrants, smuggling, racism, underground movements. A lot of interesting subjects here. So definitely this one here, choice 2, works perfectly. And later on in the choices, in fact, I already have a choice already for you listed in page 2. In page 2 of the assignment worksheet, it's an article by Erica Lee. Erica Lee's article is also from the Journal of American Ethnic History, so that's something that seems quite intriguing. So there you have it. Again, make sure you look for the listing for the term that's in italics. When it's in italics, that's the journal. Check that off with a list that's on page 1 of the assignment worksheet. And if there's a match between that term and any of the journals that's listed with a bullet list, if there's a match, then yes, you can definitely go ahead and use that. So again, Journal of American Ethnic History, that's a match. That's one of the authorized journals. By all means, that's definitely one that you can use. So there's a of the total search right here, there's 165. A good portion of them will definitely work, but others won't. So definitely be careful. Check the parameters and make sure that the journal name matches up with a list of 6 journals that's listed on page 1 of the assignment worksheet. All right, let's do one more quick search to wrap things up. And again, any questions about this, please check with me as soon as possible, because I wanted to get this video out to you as soon as early, because this is one of the early ones due on October 3rd. All right, now let's say you want to focus in on a topic which maybe corresponds to the latter part of the semester. And and to do that, of course, make sure you have the search modes and limiters: Boolean, full text, scholarly. Okay, scroll down here, periodical. Got that, and greater than 7. But let's say we want an article that's specifically from a journal, and let's go ahead and see if we have anything from History Today. Let's see if we can find something on from History Today. So if you want something specifically from one specific journal, then where it says publication, enter the name of the journal. So in this case, we just punch in History Today, because it's going to give us journals, it's going to give us articles specifically from that one journal or that one publication. And let's say some of you are interested in something from the let's say the 1970s. Let's go ahead and go with Lyndon Johnson. Let's see what kind of articles we can find about old LBJ. So let's go put in his name. Okay, so Lyndon B. Johnson or Lyndon Baines Johnson. There we go. All right, so we're looking for an article on LBJ from History Today. And of course, it's got all our parameters that I indicated. So let's click search and see what kind of stuff we can come up with. I remember LBJ was from the 60s. So obviously, this is a topic which goes along with your second EBSCO paper. All right, here we go. Ooh, no results found. Okay, all right. All right, let's go ahead and, let's widen the scope a little bit here. Let's go with the Vietnam War. Okay, I'm sure we'll find something in there. Okay, so LBJ didn't work, but because LBJ was, of course, a central figure in the Vietnam War, then most likely we'll find something there. So let's do that. Let's go to Plan B, everybody. Click search. And let's see what kind of things we come up with. Okay, you know something, History Today is not working for us. That may be a function that History Today might not even be one of the holdings anymore in the library. So let me double check on that. And if that's the case, then I'll certainly drop History Today from the list. Let's bypass History Today, go back to publication, and enter Journal of American History. Okay, that's the only problem with some of these journals. The contract or the license ends, and if the company wants more money for the license, then chances are the library, the district, bypasses that because of economic considerations. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the situation here, but I'll double check for you on History Today and see if it is indeed taken out from the list from the database list. All right, let's go ahead and try Vietnam War, this time with Journal of American History as our publication. Click search. All right, here we go. Perfect. 637 entries. Okay, unfortunately, and let's. Okay, unfortunately, yeah, and this actually happened last semester. So let me just quickly make a note of that, and then that'll conclude the video. For some reason, when I type in the number of pages that I want, for some reason the results don't quite match up. So even though I want articles which are more than which are 8 pages, I'm finding here that some of these articles are actually only about 4 pages. For example, choice 3 right here, it says 4 pieces, so it's only 4 pages. Choice 4 is only 4 pages too. But choices 1 and 2. The first one here the first one here from the September 2006 issue is 40 pages, and this one here from the June 2007 issue is 9 pages. So that'll definitely work too. So my point is, even if you put the limit, that is, you want the number of pages to be more than 7 pages, 8 pages, just be careful because for some reason the number of pages, the search function, in some cases doesn't quite work properly. So just be aware of that when you're looking at the information about your article. Just look at where the number and where the letter P is located. So for example, number 5 right here, that's 9 pages, but choice number 6 right here is only 4 pages. So just be aware of that. That is, when you're finding your article. For the most part, all the limiters work, but what I found in the last couple of semesters is that for some reason the number of pages of function in some cases doesn't quite work properly. So that's just one thing to be aware about as you're searching for your articles. Okay, but obviously 637 choices with respect to Vietnam, so undoubtedly you'll find many in here that at least fit in with the 8-page requirement. Okay, so there you have it, everybody. I know that this video ran a bit long. I know I said in the previous video that I tried to cut down the length on some of these videos, but because it's one of the earlier assignments, and I wanted to make sure that you had enough information with respect to what you had to do in terms of finding your articles. I feel it's necessary to try to cover as much as information as possible. Okay, all right, so there you have it. That concludes all of these videos, the videos for the first week. As we get further and further into the heart of the semester, undoubtedly, it won't be a case where I'll have a video every day. I know that's what it seemed like for this first week. But as we get further and further into the semester, most likely expect 1 or 2 videos per week or one every other week. But there'll be a lot more of a gradual rollout over videos compared to all the stuff that you had to contend with this first week. Okay, well that's it, everyone. Hope your first week of classes went well. Have a nice weekend, and I'll definitely come back and check in on all of you next Monday with a new announcement.